Welcome to the fundamentals of effortless power. In the lesson today, we're going to focus on the areas of how to build power in the backswing. We're going to talk about our wrist cock or our wrist hinge in the backswing. Following that with turning our shoulders against our hips. And then finishing that all together by building coil in the top of our backswing, where all these moving parts join together to create an enormous amount of kinetic energy. And then we're actually going to finish off the lesson by talking about our follow-through. The size of your follow-through is a crucially important determinant of the power of your golf swing. So we're going to work on turning our hips and our shoulders and our arms and having a nice finish and follow-through. So we'll put all these pieces together and create better power and consistency in your golf swing. So let's get to it. Okay, the first fundamental of power that we're going to work on today is our wrist cock or our wrist hinge. So that's the part of the golf swing where in our backswing we get to a consistent amount of hinge in the backswing. And the point that we're going to be looking for is there being 90 degrees between our club shaft and our left arm. So the reason that 90 degrees worth of wrist hinge is so important is that it really becomes an element of consistency. So hinging a little bit more or a little bit less, a lot of people are going to say that there's different elements of power to, or benefits of power to hinging more or less, but hinging to 90 degrees is going to give you all the consistency and all the power that you need. And crucially speaking, when we practice this hinge, we're actually developing another important part of our game, which is our short game. Because the drill that we're going to be doing today is that we are going to be doing half swings. We're going to be holding our 90 degrees, but most importantly, we're only going to move our left hand to 9 o'clock. So imagine that this was a clock faced, our arm is horizontal to the ground, which is similar to 9 o'clock. And this position is exactly where we want to be on our backswing for a half swing. So, for example, I have my pitching wedge here, or my gap wedge, which I hit about 100 yards with a full swing. But when I take a backswing to just halfway back and then a full follow-through, that half shot goes about 50 yards. So not only am I working on the full power game today, but I'm also working on my short game as well, and the half shots that we need around the green. So let's go to the drill. So here we are working on the 90 degree at 9 o'clock drill. So in the first part of the drill, I'm going to go and I'm going to hold that back position. So I'm going to focus on that 90 degrees worth of hinge, and then focus on the left arm being at a 9 o'clock position on a clock face. So again, this is a consolidation position for the full swing, as well as a half swing where we can practice on our pitching. So we're really working on two things here. We're working on consistency in our backswing for the full swing, where we're going to go through that halfway point every single time. And we're working on that half swing as well. That'll give us help with around those greens when we want to get those balls nice and tight to the pin. Great. The next fundamental of power that we're going to work on is the simple concept of turn. And what turn means is basically the amount our shoulders turn in our backswing against our hips. So right now my hips are stationary, but my shoulders have turned almost 90 degrees. And this turn is a great power generator. So you may have heard phrases like turn your back to the ball or complete your turn. These are keys to power, and it's a very simple stretch that'll help us improve our turn. So our drill today is a simple stretch. Let's go to the drill. So here we are, we're starting off with a club across my shoulders. I'll stick my butt out a little bit with a straight spine and then just turn in the direction of my backswing. And then simply bend over my leg, slow and controlled, to stretch out the lower back. So let's turn and we'll show you another direction here. Again, I'll stick up my butt, make sure I have a straight spine, and then I'll bend in the direction of my turn. And that's the area of the lower back right there where this stretch occurs.
And so what this does is that it releases the tension in your lower back and allows your shoulders to turn more against your hips. Here I am doing this one more time, and we'll see in a moment here that I have an amazing amount of turn compared to when I just started. So a greater stretch leads to a bigger turn, leads to more power, an amazing drill.
The next fundamental of power that we're going to work on is the concept of coil. So we've started our golf swing and we've hinged our wrists on the beginning of our backswing. That's brought our left arm across our body, which leads to our shoulders being pulling our shoulders and turning them against our hips. And then finally our hips turn against the ground. So all these things moving in the same direction is what leads to coil. And the concept of coil is that everything is spring-loaded, and that's where that incredible power of the golf swing comes from. You know, modern players are hitting 700, 200 yards and carrying drivers over 300. And the concept of all these mechanical levers working in conjunction with each other in the backswing is where that built-up power comes from to be released in the downswing. And again, it's the tabletop drill that, in my mind, really helps enable you to see how these pieces are put together. So once again, let's go to the drill.
So here I am using the tabletop drill again to focus on the concept of coil. And what I'm imagining here is the club shaft pulls my left arm, pulls my shoulders, pulls my hips into the backswing. So again, it's as if it's a pulling motion where the club leads the arm, leads the shoulders, leads the hips into the backswing. And that coil is where we're generating power. So again, looking at it from the other side, we can again see the real focus of the flatness, and I am really thinking about the club head leading to a pulling motion, and that pulling motion leading to coil. So again, I'll do a really slow backswing and then do a follow through here, focusing on the flatness and focusing on that coil. And then after I've done that drill several times, simply hit a ball, focusing on coil in the backswing.
The final element of power that we're going to talk about today is the size of our follow-through. Making a full follow-through to a complete finish. So first off, you're going to say, Garnet, we've been spending all this time working on my backswing, on my hinge and turn and coil. Why work on the follow-through now? The reason for it is that the size of your follow-through, in my opinion, is second only to how well you execute your downswing leg in terms of generating power and speed. Let's look at it this way. Let's say you have your swing and you finish your golf swing right here, halfway through your follow-through. So through impact, you've only been able to accelerate from impact to there. But in a full golf swing, when you finish all the way through the full follow-through, you have all this additional space to accelerate, and believe it or not, that's going to get felt at impact with better speed and greater distance. So we're going to work on our follow-through, and the simple drill here is called a turn, 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 and hold drill. We're going to make sure that we turn our hips, turn our shoulders, and finish turning our arms and hold that finish, and it's an incredible element of power. Let's go to the drill.
So here we are working on improving our follow-through and our finish with the turn, 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 and hold drill. And the crucial element of this is that there's three things that we're turning into the follow-through. We're turning our hips so that they face the target, we're turning our shoulders so that they turn more than the target, and our arms are wrapping around our body, around our neck. So what we're doing is we're just basically going in a slow motion and turning into the follow-through and holding that finished position. And it's that slowness of holding that helps us build confidence and gives us a sense of feeling for that finish. So again, it's the turn, 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 and hold drill. Hold that finish every time, and your follow-through will be much greater, and your power will come along with it.
All right, so that's it for lesson one. some great fundamentals of power there. We're working on having a consistent hinge to 90 degrees, working on turning our shoulders against our hips, and then finally bringing that all together in the backswing with coiling all the pieces together so that we have a really powerful backswing ready to be unleashed in the downswing. And then finally, we finished off the lesson with completing our follow through. So we're turning our hips, we're turning our shoulders, we're finishing with our arms to a complete turn and holding that finish. And again, this is such a key element of power that pretty soon you'll be breaking your par 5s into 2 and getting on them in 2, and then your par 4s are going to be driver wedge from here on in. So great job. Keep up those drills, practice one a day, and we'll see you next lesson.